Social media has become very important in the general population, and now there's growing use of it for doctors, patients, and other healthcare stakeholders in medicine. In particular, in the cancer and blood cancer fields, this has really taken off. When we refer to social media, we're talking about platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, there's a number of these. But my research and my activity has been mainly focused in the use of Twitter among healthcare professionals and patients and patient advocates. So the session that we did here, which was co-chaired and moderated with my colleague, Dr. Navneet Majal at the Cleveland Clinic, we were able to engage our audience in these issues. So 3 issues. Number 1 is for patients, how to use not only online and internet-based sources, which are available to most people, but also how to use social media in order to gather information, validate it, and have real-time conversations with experts and other people in the field. So that was something that we touched on. It was very important. Number 2 is for our colleagues to be able to get expert commentary, advice, discussion, especially at the time of medical conferences. This is a great use of, for example, Twitter, where even if you're not attending the conference in real life, you're following it virtually, that you have the chance to be able to do that. And then third is for research and collaborations to take place, either with regards to analyzing social media itself or research in terms of clinical trial, basic science development, all of these different things that can happen. And one example of that is I've met several of my research collaborators. We first met through mutual Twitter interests, and then we met later on in real life. So it has fostered this small world of networked individuals. Now, another aspect of this is that there are some pitfalls and limitations to using social media. There are a lot of concerns for patients, definitely the concern about patient confidentiality, privacy. These are important and major concerns. On the professional side, for the doctors, some concerns include things such as being worried about putting out the wrong information, misinformation, giving information that may violate laws, rules, and regulations. These are real concerns and barriers to using. So our advice for anyone is that social media is media. In other words, anything that involves radio, TV, visual, print, and now these new electronic media, you have to know that these things are real-time, archived, they're there forever. So we all need to be cautious and be very straightforward about what we put on and know that everyone in the world can see those things at one time. So we discuss those issues as well. And finally, there's this very real issue about time. Who has time to add on yet another thing to their day? And so we talked about ways to do it. You can use as little time for Twitter and social media or as much time as you want. And that there are different users. Some people use these sites as news aggregation, just to see what information others are putting on. And some people use it, such as myself and my colleagues, to create or contribute new information, which obviously may require a little bit more time. So depending on your feel and what you want to get out of it, you can do. And then I think the last major category of this is how to use social media for research and career interests. And we talked about some of those ways. One way is to be able to network with other people in your same field, especially if it's a rare disease field, so you can find out all the information that's going on, links to vital papers and manuscripts that you would not have otherwise seen. You can also have real-time conversations with people around the time of a meeting to be able to debate and discuss hot topics, controversies, and then finally you can reach out to the general population to raise awareness and education for your rare tumor types. So these are just some of the topics that we covered. Before, I think we would go to medical conferences, get excited about it, then the rest of the year would go on, and then there may or may not be discussion around there. But with Twitter, we've been able to keep the discussion going. So before a medical conference, during and after. And then again, these conversations would primarily be restricted to experts in the field. But now, with mediums like Twitter, we found that you have the ability for patients, patient advocates, to be a part of that discussion in real time, contribute to it, ask questions. And what we've noticed on this is that because there's very little spam, there's only about 2% or less of spam, which is defined as sort of nonsensical tweets that they don't have anything to do with the category, that people are able to really follow along, not just the experts, but everybody, all the stakeholders involved. So that's kind of my real take-home message out of this, is that anybody who's associated with a rare tumor type can now feel empowered to get involved. Second thing is people should feel empowered to get information. You're already getting information from online, Google, wherever you're going, but with Twitter you can have access to experts that you may not have possibly had access to before, and you can see the different controversies, opinions, back and forth, and you can jump in if that's something you want to do. And then the last thing is we do try to host tweet ups or tweet chats. We're trying to make it a regular thing, but right now it's whenever the people are available and able to do it. But that's a way for people during a dedicated hour to say, oh, they're talking about polycythemia vera, for example. That's something that I'm interested in.